Good afternoon and welcome to Marriage and Relationship Talk with Pastor Isaiah James. Thank you for joining my live today. I really appreciate everyone who followed through. People who reached out to me as at last week, I was unable to come up live. I really apologize for my inability to come live as at last week Friday on Marriage and Relationship Talk. I had an emergency situation that demanded my presence. A life was involved, so I have to suspend the program and go to save life. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Today on Marriage and Relationship Talk, this is Marriage and Relationship Talk 301. We are going to talk on the second necessary ingredient that is needed for a successful marital relationship. I told us in the other video, my previous video, the ingredient that is needed. We look at character, godly character, and positive attitude. So today we are going to consider another important necessary ingredient needed for a successful marriage. Today we are going to look at maturity. So today's topic is maturity, a necessary ingredient for a successful marriage relationship. Maturity, a necessary ingredient for a successful marital relationship. There are 7 things I want to talk to you about today on maturity. And number 1 is that maturity strengthens love. Being matured is one of the requirements of a person who is going to have a successful marital relationship, especially in marriage and relationship. Being matured is one of the requirements anybody who needs to build a successful relationship must have. Maturity is defined in the dictionary as the quality of behaving mentally and emotionally like an adult. A mature person is someone who has grown to 18 years of age and above. As an adult, you ought to have grown and developmentally, emotionally, and also be able to behave responsibly, to situations and things, to your husband, to your family, your kids, and everyone around you. I want you to understand this, that some people grow in age but refuse to grow emotionally and mentally. Therefore, they continue to behave in an immature way. A lot of people grow in age, but they have not grown, emotionally. They have not grown mentally. They have not grown psychologically and otherwise. So they continue to behave in an immature way. And immaturity in relationship will not allow love to grow. That's why I want us to understand first that maturity strengthens love. When you are blessed to have a mature person in relationship, it strengthens your love. And when you yourself is also mature in relationship, it strengthens the love you're going to give to your spouse. It strengthens the love that you give to people that live around you and everyone that stays around you. Anyone who is not mature should not enter into a marital relationship. Marital relationship or marriage institution is designed for 2 adult individuals, for 2 matured individuals. So anyone that is not mature is not qualified to enter into a marital institution. Some immaturity is a behavior that doesn't show wisdom. It doesn't show emotional and mental development. In marriage, you and your spouse need to be matured in age. You and your spouse need to be matured in age. You need to be matured emotionally. You need to be matured financially. You need to be matured physically. And you need to be matured mentally to enjoy the love that marriage offers. Someone asked me some time ago, he said, Pastor, what is the level of maturity someone needs to enjoy love in marriage? I say these are the dimensions or the level of maturity you need in marriage. You must enjoy love in your relationship. You must enjoy growth in your relationship. You must enjoy peace in your relationship. You and your spouse need to mature emotionally. You need to mature in age. You need to mature financially. You need to mature spiritually. And you need to mature mentally to be able to enjoy love that marriage offers. Number 2, maturity entails personal relationship. Remember, I told us I'm going to talk to us in this video in 7 ways. I'm going to talk in 7 ways. So number 1 is that maturity strengthens love. And number 2, maturity entails personal responsibility. Maturity plays a role in a person's ability to accept responsibility for his or her own thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Maturity plays a role in a person's ability to accept responsibility for his or her own thoughts, feelings, and behavior. It is governs a person's ability to monitor his or her own thinking and control the various emotion, anxiety, frustration inherent in any intimate relationship. In any intimate relationship, when tensions are high in relationship, it is common to handle the pain by blaming the other people. These are the common things we see in marriage and relationship. When tension is high in marriage and relationship, the party will tend to push it to the other people, the other party in relationship or in marriage. The husband will push to the wife will push to the husband. And these are some signs of immaturity in that marriage. The ability to handle tension, the ability to handle pressure, the ability to handle any form of frustration or anxiety or any emotional indifference in relationship or in marriage is a sign that someone is mature. And you really need this in your relationship. You need this in your marriage. When tension are high in relationship, it's an immature sign for you to push it to your husband. It's an immature sign for you to push it to your wife. It's an immature sign for you to blame your spouse for whatever it is that happened. So maturity entails personal relationship, personal responsibility. If you're able to handle responsibility in your marriage, it's a sign that you are matured. In emotionally mature relationship, partners are able to have realistic expectations about relationship, marriage, and their partner. They have realistic expectations about their partner, their spouse, and everything that goes on in that relationship and in that marriage. So emotionally mature individuals, do not blame their partner. Do not blame their partner or others for any form of anxiety they feel, or for any form of pains they receive, any forms of failures they receive in their marriage. A mature person will take responsibility for any circumstances they find themselves. They own their own failure, they own their own success, and they will not blame other people for their outcome. A mature spouse will take personal responsibility bestowed upon him in their marriage. If as a spouse you're still blaming your other half, you're still blaming your partner for your failures, lack of progress, inaction, and so on, then you need to work on becoming mature. I have seen this happen in several relationships. I've seen this happen in several marriages. The spouse blame this one for inability to accomplish this one blame this one for inability to attain to this height, or to fulfill this code, or to come to this, to attain to this pursuit, whatever it is. If you're blaming your spouse for the things you're unable to do, that means you need to learn to be mature in that aspect. Number 3, maturity makes marriage sweet. Maturity makes marriage sweet. For us to be able to build a marital institution, a home that is filled with joy, happiness, funds, you need to be mature, because maturity makes marriage sweet. I told us before that marriage was designed to be sweet. Marriage is not a frustrating zone. Marriage is not an aquarium whereby two people who are frustrated and abandoned are being dumped there. No, God designed marriage to be sweet. The marriage wasn't meant to be endured. Marriage was meant to be enjoyed. So when you are mature and when your spouse is mature in a relationship, you enjoy your marriage instead of enduring it. A lot of people are enduring their marriage because they are not matured in that marriage, and they refuse to work, to grow, to become matured in that marriage. You and your spouse have a lot of work to do. If there's any area you spot in your life that you see some immaturity in it, you need to work corporately and also as an individual to attain to level of maturity you need to enjoy love and to make your marriage sweet. A mature person is an open-minded individual who see things from a different perspective and can allow other people's opinion without getting hurt or being defensive. A lot of people are not open in their marital joint, in their marital institution. They are defensive, they are not open to people's idea, people's suggestion. They become the King Kong of their marriage. Their thought is the only thing they see. They want to become the final say in their marriage. This is a sign of immaturity in marriage. They are not open to interruption, but mature people are open to be accessed. They are accessed. They receive thought, suggestions from their spouse, from people around them, and they also accept their weaknesses. And if a mature person is unable to communicate effectively, they will rather go and shut themselves in the room and wait for their partner to come beg them, to explain to them what is wrong. But you see that mature people in relationship go about their spouse, asking them and expressing their thought, whatever it is that is a worries to them. They go ahead to communicate effectively. They just walk up to their spouse and express themselves. They have this self-expressing manner, attitude in them that makes love sweet, that make their home sweet, that make their marriage sweet. So Immaturity hinders communication, effective communication in marriage. Maturity means that you value other people's opinion, able to ask for their feedback and receive constructive feedback to develop any identified area of weakness. Maturity helps people to manage their ego. It reduces the chance of developing a sense of entitlement, which can lead to and inflict ego. A lot of people have this sense of entitlement, and when you see them like this, most of the men is that I am the man of this house, I wear the pants in this house, I should be the only cock that crawl in this house. When I speak, no other person should speak. It's a sign of immaturity. A mature person is open to be accessed. A mature person does not carry the title and the entitlement position in his or her head in the family, irrespective of the role he or she plays in the family. Your maturity, your level of maturity will affect your marriage positively or negatively. If you're immature, you will impact your marriage negatively, but if you're mature, you will affect your marriage positively. Maturity helps people to manage their ego. It reduces the chances of developing a sense of entitlement. Many people are entitled, have this sense of entitlement in their marriage. I am the man of this house, I'm supposed to be referenced, I'm supposed to be this. No, such an attitude doesn't make marriage to be sweet. It doesn't make love to grow in marriage. Mature spouse in the marriage can work with their spouse to resolve any issue, reach mutual agreement on how they want their marriage to be, make allowances for any other person's fault. Then the fourth thing you need to know, which I want you to understand as regard to maturity, is that maturity doesn't come by age. A lot of people make mistake, to consider because they are growing age, maybe they are 50, they are 40, they are 60, they begin to feel that they are mature. Maturity doesn't come by age. Maturity doesn't come naturally as we grow in age. Although physical changes occur when the body is being fed and nurtured to grow fully healthy, but this should not be mistaken for maturity. Growing mature should be a conscious, intentional step taken in diverse areas: physically, spiritually, psychologically, mentally, and financially. These are the areas you need to take a conscious step, a conscious decision to build yourself to grow maturely in this area. So maturity doesn't come by age. I've seen people who grow in age. They grow in age. People say that age is just a number. They grow in that age, but they are not grown mature. You see the way they behave. You see the way they talk. You see the way they act. You see the way they treat their spouse. You see the way they handle their children. They handle the home. You enter such an environment, you really know that this person is immature. So that person really need to grow. If you're one of such a person, you don't need to be ashamed, but you just need to accept your weakness. You just need to accept that in this area you've not grown in that area, you've not matured in that area, and you need to take conscious step to grow matured in that area. The fifth thing I want you to know is the signs of immaturity in marriage. What are the signs of immaturity in marriage? One of the signs of immaturity, I'm going to talk about 12 of them here in this video. Number one is inability to communicate kindly, honestly, and effectively, mostly when they are hot. When you are hot, how do you behave? When something happens, when you're under pressure, how do you behave? Do you communicate effectively to your spouse? When you see someone inability to communicate kindly, openly, and honestly and effectively in a marriage, is a sign of immaturity. Sometimes they will just come back from work or from a busy day with anger, anxiety, or pains or frustration of any kind. They just walk straight to their room, bounce the door, shut the door. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to see anybody, not even their spouse. They don't want to say. They just shut themselves in the door and they just cease communication. I told us before that when communication is broken down in a marriage, when communication ceases in a marriage, it's a problem. One of the hallmarks of a successful marriage and relationship is effective communication. Effective communication. If you're unable to communicate effectively in your marriage, there's going to be a gap, and that gap will create a problem. And I want you to understand that communication is not only to be done when you're happy or when everything is okay. Your ability to communicate with your spouse and your family when things are not okay is one of the signs of a great matured person. Oh, I feel like this, honey. I don't feel better. I feel this way. I don't feel things are right. I don't feel these things is going on. This is the way I feel. This is my thought on this issue. You communicate openly. You communicate honestly. You communicate effectively and kindly to your spouse, even when things are not okay. This is a sign that someone is mature. But when you see a communication breakdown, mostly when you are under tension, when you are under pressure, it's a sign of immaturity. So you need to improve on this if you are a victim of it. Number two, unwillingness to take personal responsibility. I told us before that maturity entails personal responsibility. Example, a refusal to make a heartfelt apology. unwillingness to take personal responsibility. Something happened, they cannot make apology. A woman can apologize, a man can apologize. It's a sign of immaturity. Some people plague themselves in a marriage, keeping malice, keeping hot, being hot. They can, you enter a home, you see in a family, a husband and a wife can stay for weeks, even for months, without talking to each other, without coming to a certain point of resolving a certain anger, irrespective of whatever the issue is. I told us before, irrespective of whatever the issue is in a marriage, you should be able to resolve it within that particular day. One of the strategy I adopt in my marriage, in my home, is that we don't go to bed mad. We don't go to bed mad. Irrespective of the level of anger we are in, we make sure we resolve it before morning comes. This is a sign of a matured life. It is a sign of a matured individual, a matured couple in a marital institution. Unwillingness to take personal responsibility. Oh, you hurt this person. Take personal responsibility. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. Honey, I'm sorry. Darling, I'm sorry. Whatever it is you call your spouse, I am sorry. Or you just acknowledge that you made a wrong decision. Okay, don't be proud for you to acknowledge, oh, I thought this is going to come out well, but since we've seen the outcome of this, I am sorry. This was not my view. Maybe I wasn't realistic on my expectation when I made that decision. I am sorry. Inability to take personal responsibility is a sign of immaturity. Number 3, a lack of emotional regulation, such as being hot-tempered or prone to trauma. Some people, what people call mood swing. They just see, mostly in women, you see them within a couple of minutes, they were okay, they were very happy, they were excited, and you just turn something. I mean, the person is not hurt, you don't say anything wrong, you just turn over. The person is just sad. In fact, in some women, you just see them, they start crying. Baby, what happened? Why are you crying? You don't understand. You can't tell. You just start crying. They just swing their mood. They just regulate their emotion. Within a twinkle of an eye, they're happy. The next second, the next minute, they are angry, they are hot. And at a point in time, they just just lock you out from their life. You don't know where to come in. You just ask, what's going on? Are you okay? I'm okay. But they are crying. How do you tell someone you're okay and you're crying? It happens severally. I've experienced this severally. Something just happened, somebody's crying. Why are you hurt? Something is happening to you. You said, I'm okay, I'm fine. This is a sign of, immaturity in relationship. I call it a lack of emotional regulation. Everyone of us in marriage, in relationship, should be entitled to regulating our emotion, properly and effectively, to ensure that our spouse are not hurt, to ensure that our spouse are not left out. I told us before, when you're involved in a relationship, just have this consciousness that you have someone that you're responsible for. You have someone that you're entitled to. You have someone that you're answerable to. There are a point in time that when you were single, or when someone was not involved in your life, you can take any decision, you can act any way, you're entitled to your own behavior. But the moment someone enters your life, you become responsible for that person's happiness and joy to some certain degree. There are some, you have to regulate your emotion to an extent that you don't hurt the person. Just knowing that your life is not all by yourself alone, that there is someone in your life that if something happened to you, they care and they are concerned about you. So you should be able to carry them along and consider them when you want to regulate your emotion. I'm talking to all those people, all those men and all those women that easily swing their mood. They call it mood swing. I don't like that thing. How can your mood just swing out of order? The next second you're happy, the next second you're sad, the next second they cannot predict you. Your husband can predict you in marriage, your wife can predict you. It's a sign of emotional immaturity. And also another sign of emotional immaturity is pattern of inconsistent goal, value, or messages to serve others, to other people. Chronic shutting down in time of difficulty and conflict, habitual pattern of aggressiveness or passive aggressive behavior, lack of consideration for other people's need and want, being manipulative, they keep on crossing boundaries. And one of the things I'm going to talk about in this series is boundaries and value. When someone is emotional immature, you see the person cross boundary without taking any careful consideration or a thought that they are stepped out of boundary. A lack of direction in setting and achieving important goals, unwillingness to set and maintain appropriate financial goal and spending, setting budgets, setting standard for what you want to do, chronic avoidance of issues including procrastination, and the last one is an imbalance of sense of play. You can't play with your husband, you can't play with your wife, they can't predict you. You become unpredictable. You don't know what the outcome is going to be the next minute or the next second. It's a sign of immaturity. So you need to look at your life Are these signs in your life? Are these signs exhibited in your marriage? Are these signs exhibited in your relationship? You need to check them and ensure. If you are a victim of this, then you have to take a conscious step to grow and become mature in that aspect. If only you must enjoy love, if only you must enjoy a happy home, if it's only you have to, you enjoy, you have to, you want, your goal is to build a successful marital relationship, you need to take everything I've discussed here into a serious consideration. The sixth thing I want you to know in this series today is the areas maturity affects your marriage. What are the areas maturity affects your marriage? Maturity affects your communication. Maturity affects communication. If you're emotionally mature person in your relationship, in your marriage, you'll be able to communicate effectively. Maturity affects emotional control and reasoning. It affects a couple's ability to successfully make joint decisions, work together towards relationship goals, and resolve conflict effectively. Mature relationship offers space for individual to share ideas, feelings, rather than to dominate. Anyone you see with a dominating attitude, dominating behavior in marriage is not mature. Any relationship you see one partner become dominating, that person is not mature, and that's a sixth sign in marriage and a sixth sign in relationship. Maturity also cleared the way for a shared communication and allowed you and your spouse to be open for each other's perspective, allowing conflicts to be more respectfully understood and resolved. And we're not saying that a marriage will be conflict free. No, every marriage and relationship has one level of disagreement and or the other, but mature partner own their contribution to their relationship, both positive and negative, and they are able to personally search for solution to problems that arise. This is a matured individual in marriage. You'll be able to communicate effectively. I've told you before that communication is not only when things are okay, when you're hot, when things are not okay, when you're under pressure. How do you handle that? How do you communicate with your spouse? How do you communicate with people around you? There are people that if things are not okay, you can easily see it in the tone of their voice, with their expression, their facial expression in the home, and in fact the home will be on fire. The home will be on fire. Everybody will know. It will be like to their tent, oh Israel, because the house is on fire. Everybody just avoid him, because that's a sign of immaturity. Maturity will handle or communicate, will affect your communication in marriage. Number two, maturity will affect your trust. Okay, if you're a mature person, you will be able to trust your partner, in your relationship. A sign of distrust or distrust in relationship or marriage is a sign of immaturity. Okay, so you have to be trusted in the first place, and also build your home. You have to build trust also in your home. So maturity will affect your trust. Maturity influences a person's ability to truly commit to a relationship for life, and understand that commitment imply giving up all other person's choice. This is in turn determine the level of trust and dependability present in that marriage or that relationship. Maturity allows partner to be supported in exploring individuals' interests, so their own uniqueness can be honored. It also maintains the integrity of the commitment and restore trust when it has been violated. So maturity will affect your trust. Anybody that have a distrust issue should check himself. If you see someone that is easily being distrust, you should check himself. He has a trust issue, and that trust issue is a sign of immaturity. The last one, what your maturity will affect in relationship or your marriage, is maturity and forgiveness. Maturity will affect forgiveness. A person's ability to forgive their partner when needed is a distinguishing character in a successful long-term relationship, and is also influenced by maturity. Anyone that is immature will keep grudge, will keep malice, will keep hatred in his or heart. Anyone you see that keep hatred is immature. A mature person should be able to call for attention of the spouse when things are not going well. When you discover that he or she is being hurt, you should be able to value peace and maintain order in a family, in a home, knowing that this is the ultimate of a successful marriage. If your home is not peaceful, if your home is not in order and you enjoy it, it's a sign that you are not matured. If peace cannot be maintained in your home and you enjoy that atmosphere, is a sign that you are not mature. Many marriages are currently struggling with difficulties in their relationship tied to past hurt. A husband will keep malice, a wife will keep malice. They don't talk to each other for weeks, they don't talk to each other for months, they don't talk to each other for even for years, and they are still living together. What kind of life is that? What kind of marriage is that? What kind of couple is that? So Maturity enables couple to stick it out when they go and get tough and to let go of negative feelings. Mature people love their partners unconditionally and they do not stay focused on resentment or imperfection. A sign of a mature person is to resolve anger, is to resolve conflict as soon as possible. Like I said, I don't go to my bed mad. No matter what the hurt is, we have to resolve it before morning comes because I enjoy peace in my home. I enjoy harmony. I love creating an environment of love, peace, fun, and enjoyment in my home. So anyway there is conflict, anytime there is hurt, anytime we have there's indifference in our home, I call for order, even when I am not the one that started, or even when I am not the victim, or I wasn't the one that started it, but I make sure I call it to order because I enjoy peace. So if you don't enjoy peace, if you enjoy creating an atmosphere of turbulence, tension in your home, and that is comfortable for you, it's a sign that you're not mature. To both male and female, you have to inculcate this habit, this attitude into your home if you must enjoy successful marriage, if you must enjoy peaceful home. And the something is for you to learn to be mature. What are the steps you have to take to be mature? What are the things you have to do to be mature? Like I said, age is not maturity. You can be older in age, but you still behave immaturely in some certain ways of your life. So how do you learn to become mature? By reading books, learning how to act responsibly, take responsibility, and becoming emotionally intelligent are ways of becoming matured in diverse areas. If you're someone that is immature in the way you speak, you learn to bridle your tongue. There are some secrets in the home that should not be presented outside, that should not be said outside. You need to learn to control your tongue. You need to learn ways to be mature. However, immature people do not want to learn, or they learn and they don't want to apply whatever it is they have learned due to one reason or the other. Sometimes some people, because they have grown in age, assume they are naturally mature. It's not so. Marriage need people who are emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially matured. So you have to create such a home. Then how do you get to such level of maturity? It's for you to learn. If you know you are not good with money, learn to handle money maturely. You're not good with anger, learn to resolve anger and learn to avoid things that get you angry. In my previous video where I talked about character and attitude, I shared with us the 8 things you need to learn to control to manage the stress. I call it character and attitude adjustment. Go back to the video and listen to them again. Anything that puts you under tension, anything that puts you under pressure, learn to avoid them. Handle tension in your home. Don't create a tension home. Don't create a home that is full of pressure, tension. Don't allow your spouse to be under tension. You yourself don't be under tension. Else it's going to affect the way you behave to your spouse and the people living around you in the home. For you to be able to live to the fullness maritally, you must be mature. You must take conscious steps to read, study. I value knowledge. I told us before, even the Bible said it, that marriage, home is built by knowledge. He said by home a house is built. He said by wisdom and understanding a home is established. It's a book of Proverbs. So you need to learn to accelerate yourself knowledgeably in knowledge. Make sure you study every day. Learn something new every day. Learn how to treat your spouse. Learn how to handle conflict. Learn how to behave maturely when you're under pressure. Learn how to handle your anger. Learn how to resolve issues. Accelerate in knowledge every day. And as you do this, you're going to grow in maturity every day of your life. Don't leave a gap in your home. Don't leave a gap in yourself. Don't think that whatever will be, whatever will be, will not be. You have to take conscious step and practical step to handle responsibility in your home and ensure that everything is done well. The book of John said, let everything be done decently and in order. If you must enjoy love, a happy, build a successful home and marriage, you must learn to be mature. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain today in this video. Till I come your way next Friday. Stay tuned, share this video, like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and drop a comment. Let me hear your view. If you have any challenge and you feel there's something you want us to talk about, reach out to me. My name is Pastor Isaiah James. I'm happy to come your way today. Stay tuned till next week Friday. on Marriage and Relationship Talk. Thank you very much, and God bless. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Marriage and Relationship Talk with Pastor Isaiah James. Thank you for joining my live today. I really appreciate everyone who followed through. People who reached out to me as at last week, I was unable to come off live. I really apologize for my inability to come live as at last week Friday on Marriage and Relationship Talk. I had an emergency situation that demand my presence. A life was involved, so I have to suspend the program and go to save life. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Today, a marriage and relationship talk. This is marriage and relationship talk 301. We're going to talk on the second necessary ingredient that is needed for a successful marital relationship. I told us in the other video, my previous video,